What's up there, YouTube? Double D here with Tournage du Bois. Welcome back. I was asked to make a piece recently by the Children's Discovery Center here in Topeka. They have a little play area for kids, a place where they can experiment, they can find out different things, they can try different things, they can learn all sorts of things, especially about nature and Kansas in general and things like that. So it's a pretty cool place, a great place to take your kids for some fun. But they have a stage area and they asked me to make them a few microphones. So we're going to make a microphone, try to make a stand as well. I'm going to get a dowel rod, put that in a plate, cut it off, angle it out. But yeah, this is going to be one of the microphones. So we're going to get that knocked out. Let's roll. As you can see, that's not perfectly square on either end. So we're going to find center of those, and that'll be the center point of the block. We're going to get that between centers. Then we'll get it turned with a tenon on one end, flip it around, and get to shaping. Centers punched. If it's sanded up to 400 grit, we're going to use our abrasive paste from Brad's workbench on this. And because it's going to be a play toy for kids, we're definitely going to use a food-safe finish on it because kids like to bite things and put things in their mouths. So that's what we're going to put on it, is Brad's abrasive paste, and then we're going to use his tongue wax finish for a good durable finish on this piece that will not cause issues if a child decides to eat it or try to eat it. I have no idea what kind of wood this is. This is just a little block that I had sitting around. Looks nice though. They have asked me to make 3 of these, so I'm not going to make all 3 of them on camera. I'll do 2 of those off camera afterwards, but wanted to at least get this one recorded. And if you need some abrasive paste and finish from Brad's workbench, there's a link to his Etsy store in the description down below. And if you use coupon code DD10, you will get a 10% discount off of your order. And as always with the abrasive paste, you just work it and then you go to a new section of the cloth until it comes back clean, and then you know that all of the abrasive paste is off the piece. Now it's time for the tongue wax finish. Pretty liberal amount of the finish. Start applying it. I'll put excess back in the jar. Let this sit for 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll come back and buff everything off. So what I'm doing right now is I'm turning the microphone stand. So the idea is going to be that the microphone stand has a dowel rod that will stick into the microphone stand, the base, and then I'll put an angle on the top portion and we will mount the microphone to the top of the dowel rod for a fixed item. So what I'm doing, I put a tenon on the top part. What I'm going to do here is put a mortise on because I want it to where they can screw it to the floor or whatever they want to do with it. So I'm just going to put a mortise on this side, flatten this out, put a mortise on this side, sand it, and then I'll flip it around and do the other side. And then I'll use a Forstner bit. So what I'll do is I'll flatten this out, put a mortise on this, round it off, and then I will sand it. I'm not going to do anything with the bottom because like I said, they'll probably fix it to the floor. And then I'll flip it back around, do the top portion, use a Forstner bit to get the part hollowed out for the dowel rod to mount into, and then we'll get the top part sanded and finished. So what I'm doing there is just making sure that the bottom is concave so I can see light between it, which is all I want. Now we'll get a mortise in. All right, so we have a little flat area here. That's not going to be a problem. We'll be able to continue rounding that out just a little bit from the other side. So we'll get this rough sanded. I'll get a dovetail put in this side, smooth this out a little bit, and then we'll get it flipped around. All right, so that should suffice for what we need. So we'll hit this with a little bit of sandpaper, and then we will flip it around. And since this is the bottom, does not have to be perfect, because it will be, like I said, I told them that it might be good for them to try and fix it to the floor with screws or something to keep it from moving. So now we'll get the top done. All right, let's get that sanded. Then after we get the dowel rod, we will Forstner bit out the middle and get it going. So I turned that base while this was soaking. So it took me about 20 minutes to do the base, maybe not quite that long, but it's a good chance for this to soak in real good. So now we will get this buffed off, the finish worked in, and then we will move on to the next step. So the main thing right now, I got it at a low speed, just under 400 RPM, just to get the excess off, and then we'll boost that speed up a bit so we can melt that wax in. So I bumped the speed up to just over 800. I'm feeling that heat, which is what we want for that wax to melt. We'll just work it in real good all over the piece. And then we'll get this parted off. Get that little nub sanded off, and the microphone will be done. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. I didn't show the whole process for a couple of reasons. Number one, I wasn't sure how it was all going to work out. Plus trying to figure out the camera settings around everything that I was working on. So I showed making the microphone, I showed making the base part. I did not show the Forstner bit portion or the dowel rod, but I got a dowel rod. So this is the microphone. I have that drilled and screwed into the dowel rod. The dowel rod is cut down to 3 feet, so this is just at 3 feet tall. We have our base, and I left that, base plain on the bottom so that way they could drill some holes and fix this down to the ground. So there's our microphone with the stand, all screwed together, wood glued, and finished with breads. Tung wax. On top of that, I made another microphone because they wanted 3 of them, so I got 2 done. I'm going to make a 3rd one as we move forward. I wanted to get this done because they're having a grand opening to their new expansion this weekend. So super excited for the Children's Discovery Center here in Topeka. And like I said, if you are ever in this area, make sure to come out and check it out. It's a fun place for kids. They can learn a lot, and it's pretty fun for adults too, because you can also learn a lot and watch the kids enjoy their time. If this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. If you like the video, mash on that thumbs up. If not, mash the thumbs down. At any rate, leave your comments, feedback down below. That's how I grow. That's what helps push that algorithm, is any of that interaction that you choose to do. And that'll get these videos boosted up on YouTube and expand the exposure for the channel. At any rate, we'll catch you all next time.